Welcome to Financial Strategies with Andrew Agemy in Connecticut and Daniel Agemy in Colorado.
Have it your way, a slogan from a fast food restaurant from an era gone by. But is that really what you want? Is having it your way or fast food? Can you have both? I'm Andrew Agemy.
And I'm Daniel Agemy, and you're listening to Financial Strategies. Today, we're talking about fast food or boutique restaurant. And AAA, these are very different things, right? One's very convenient, and it's everywhere. You don't have to do a lot of research. You know what you're going to get. I know a story of a guy over in Europe who was just looking for McDonald's because he knew what he would get.
Yeah, when I was in Europe, when I was in Spain, I was having a hard time getting some food that I liked. So at least I thought, well, hey, McDonald's is a good place to go because I know what I can expect. And that was one of the better meals, I'm sorry to say, because I'm just kind of picky when it comes to that. But you're right. You know, you don't go to fast food places because it's good food necessarily. Maybe, and even anymore, it's not even fast anymore, right? Yeah. For a lot of these places.
Seriously. I went to a taco place that was supposed to be fast food and stood there for 28 minutes waiting for I couldn't believe it. I was like ready to ask for a refund.
Well, Daniel, then the other thing comes into play, right? In California, they raised the minimum wage to $20 an hour, right? So what in the world is a fast food restaurant out there going to charge for a sandwich? Right. And you got to wonder at the end of the day, between the time you have to wait and what you have to pay at the end of the day, is it actually going to be cheaper to go to a regular restaurant than to go to a fast food restaurant and get better food and better service for less money? I mean, that's what our clientele experiences when we're talking about the financial industry, right? But the thing is, this is crazy, right? And when I started a show with, have it your way, right? This particular fast food restaurant has been going back and forth. One of the reasons why they stopped using that was because they recognized that it was going to slow the lines down. I mean, I forget what year it was, but I think it was 2012. They actually had the slowest, response time to being in the checkout line and the drive-through and everything as any fast food restaurant. And so they didn't like that. So they like the concept and they're changing it to something else along those lines, right? I mean, it was a good idea. And back in the 70s, when they started with that, it was a whole nother thing. And it was to be able to give people choices more than just, you want pickles with that or not, right? Mm-hmm. But, it's a great concept of giving people what they want, right? Like a boutique restaurant would give people what they want, have the burger that you want, cooked the way that you want, well, medium well, raw, whatever, right? With whatever the fixings are, but, it's a whole nother thing, so that's why I said in the beginning, do you want fast food or do you want boutique? Do you want to fix it your way or not? It's kind of like you can't have both today. And the same thing holds true when it comes to the financial industry. We're not just talking about food, we're talking about the financial industry. Right. Because the financial industry is very much in the same fashion. I mean, it's just crazy, right? You go to a bank today, and what kind of service do you get in a bank? Do you get any kind of proactive service from a bank, to do things your way? No, they're typically reactive. They're waiting for you to come in the door, tell them what you want to do, and I went on the bank today and I find out they did something to me that limiting me significantly with my business accounts and everything else. And it's like, well, when were they going to tell me? They didn't tell me. They didn't give me any heads up. They just said, this is what it is. And the limitations they put on me, now I'm going to have to call the manager to get some service just to try to get it back the way it was. And it's like, this is ridiculous.
Well, you should have known, Andrew. It's not your money, it's their money. Come on, what are you thinking? You thought that was your money?
Well, I know, Daniel. I know we did that show and we talked about that, right? About how it's not, when you put it in the bank, it's not your money. So now this got me thinking, do I even want to use this bank? And do I even want to use a bank anymore? Because we have the opportunity to be able to do a lot of different things that we don't have to use the bank, at least for storing our money from that standpoint, and we can do other things. And so, that's maybe one of the reasons why they did this, right? Because they're trying to prevent a run on the bank in the future. But, besides the fact of, making money on our money, right? I mean, this is crazy today, right? You take a check to a bank and they tell you it's 4 days to clear.
I agree with that. And people need to stop and think about this, because the other thing is, if you have make up a number. People have all different amounts. You got 50 grand in the bank. We talk to people. I don't know why, but they got 150, let me try it again. 550 grand in the bank. And it's like, so that the bank is earning minimally 5% on that. And they're paying you what? You're probably lucky if you're getting 0.5% at the bank.
Right.
But they're making 5%. Right?
Yeah. Right. Well, yeah. I mean, that's like almost 5,000 times what they're making, right? I mean, and that's the thing. Somebody came in the other day. I said, I don't mind the banks making money, but when the banks make more money than my clients, or when my clients are not making anything and the bank's making this kind of money, I don't like that. And we need to do something about that. So just the banking system in general is ridiculous. And unfortunately, it's part of our industry, right? It's the financial service industry, which we'll talk about in a minute. But before we do, I'd just like to let people know you're listening to Financial Strategies with Andrew and Daniel Agemy, this father-son team trying to come to you and educate you, help you be able to make smart decisions. And so today we're talking about fast food or boutique restaurant. And we're comparing those to when it comes to the financial industry. But we have a paper that we'd love to put in your hand today to be able to help you with what we're talking about, to be able to help you retire. This paper is called Retirement Risk Report. And, people don't know if they're ready for retirement. They don't know what kind of risk they're putting forth for retirement. Because, how many financial advisors does it take to ruin a retirement? One. And this paper will help you be able to prepare and help you understand. And the other papers we're giving away help you understand if you're working with the right people. And that's what today's show is about. So we're glad to put this in your hand and so call us at 800-725-7616 for your free copy. 800-725-7616 for your free copy of Retirement Risk Report and how you can be sure that you're not above your risk where you want to be in for your retirement portfolio. Call now. Today's topic is fast food or a boutique restaurant. We're comparing this within the financial industry because, we did another show called It's a Specialized World, talking about how there's specialists out there in the medical field. We're very familiar with that, but there's specialists within, attorneys, all kinds of specialists within attorneys. And the financial industry is no different. They may be lagging in the specialties, perhaps that the attorneys are and that the doctors are from that standpoint, but there's still specialties when it comes to retirement, when it comes to planning for the rest of your life and the best of your life. Ideally, you have the right kind of specialist that's going to be able to help you with that. So within the financial industry, called the financial service industry. And it's crazy because it's kind of oxymoron, Daniel, right? It should be the financial sales industry, right? Because everything's about sales, typically to most people, right? And service is an afterthought. But and it's not that sales are bad, but the question is because nothing happens in our economy if stuff isn't sold. But the question is, how is it not just how it's sold, but how it's sold and how it's serviced, right? Because a lot of people out there are selling stuff. And, we talking about bank, we did business with a bank. They sold us a mortgage on our building. And, as far as servicing, it's like, pulling teeth to try to get service out of them. So it's crazy, right? But, we believe in a true financial service company that's going to serve people and educate people. That's why we spend so much time educating people.
Well, I think that goes back to the analogy of the fast food versus boutique. So why would someone go to fast food? Maybe they've been using it for maybe they've been eating it for a long time and their body has gotten used to that poor quality food, or it's gotten used to that thing. And so they're okay with it because it's everywhere. You just drive down the street and you see it because they're trying to move fast, because you understand the quality that you're going to get, right? Mm-hmm. Now, why do people not go to a boutique? Well,
but don't forget, it's also kind of easy, right? Because Dunkin' Donuts is one of the highest yielding fast food companies that there are. And why do people go there for their coffee instead of making it themselves, right? Well, one thing, because it's easy, right?
mhm.
But that's it, easy. But there's the disease of ease.
So those are all reasons to go with the fast food. Now they're not thinking about long-term health consequences, and they're not thinking about what they're putting into their body. I remember Von Miller when he was here in Denver, he was talking about how he got sick and it was because he ate some fried cheese or, something like that. And he's like, you can't put cheap gas in a Ferrari. Right? Like he's talking about he's physically like one of the best athletes, right, in the NFL, or was. And he can't go and eat, like in the football season, he can't eat that because it ruins performance. And the long-term effects are crazy. Whereas if you're looking at putting good ingredients in your body, it takes a little bit more time. Now, why would someone not go with a boutique, right? Maybe because there's more of a downside available, right?
Yeah.
Because you might get a bad boutique restaurant. That is a possibility. So you have more of a downside than if you just go to because you know what you're going to get if you go to the fast food. But the upside is multiples, right? Because you're never going to go to a fast food restaurant and say, that was the best food I ever ate, right? That is not, that will not happen. But you go to one of these boutique restaurants and there's a good possibility you're going to find the one and you're going to leave and you're going to be saying, that's the best, whatever you got, right?
Right.
That I've ever eaten. That's the best eggplant parmesan that I've ever eaten. I still have that from a boutique restaurant that I went to in New York City, right? Like I still have not had better eggplant parmesan than that boutique restaurant in New York City. And so that's the upside you get. So you need to consider what's important to you, the convenience,
right,
moving right along, or the longevity and having the highest upside possible, right?
Right. Exactly. That's true. When I was in Spain and, I was going to boutique restaurants and I didn't like the boutique restaurants, they weren't, and I'm the kind of guy, like, if I don't get what I want and it's not, what I'm looking for, I feel like I wasted a meal and everything, and I feel really bad. So, it happened so much to me in Spain. That's why I was looking for a McDonald's, and even McDonald's wasn't good as the U.S. McDonald's, but nevertheless, it was tolerable and it got me through that time of being there. But anyway, you're listening to Financial Strategies. Daniel Agemy. Today's topic is fast food or boutique restaurant, and it pertains to the financial industry, and that's what we're talking about. But we have a book that we'd like to give you today before we go to break that be able to help you to be able to prepare for and be able to understand how this all goes together from that standpoint. It's called The Richest Man in Babylon. And this book has a lot of premises that just have proven themselves to be true over all the years when it comes to investing, when it comes to saving, when it comes to handling money. So we'd love to put this book in your hand for free by calling us at 800-725-7616. 800-725-7616 for your free copy. The first 5 first-time callers at 800-725-7616, or you can contact us at our website, agemy.com. The 2 words Agemy, Agemy, A-G-E-M-Y. Spell our last name of Agemy, AGEMY.com. So call now.
Important financial question. Are you feeling confident that you have enough money saved to enjoy a stress-free retirement?
Honestly, I'm not sure.
That's where Retirement Income Sources investment advisory arm comes in. We exist to help you invest your money smartly.
I'm struggling to accept my retirement without a steady paycheck. So can you help me invest into a profitable revenue plan?
Absolutely. We have top advisors nationwide who have a fiduciary obligation to you, helping you generate retirement income.
You're locked on to Financial Strategies with Andrew and Daniel Agemy.
Where do you go when you want a really good hamburger? I mean, after all, do you go to the fast food restaurant? Do you go to McDonald's to get a really good hamburger? No, you go there because maybe it's fast, but you go there because you at least know what you're going to get. Where do you go when you want a really good, juicy burger fixed the way that you want it to, with the jalapenos or the special sauce or whatever that may be that you like yourself, where do you go? You go to the boutique restaurant that fixes burgers, and that's their specialty. They fix burgers. They don't fix anything else because they know how to do burgers right. I'm Andrew Agemy.
And I'm Daniel Agemy, and you're listening to Financial Strategies. Today, we're talking about fast food versus a boutique restaurant. And AAA, to tack on to what you're talking about, not only do you want those fresh ingredients in that burger, you prefer if the people know you and you walk in and they know what you want, right?
Yeah,
you
right.
prefer
it's experience too.
You prefer if they come and say, "How are you?" You sit you down and put you in a table, right? Your usual table, right? You prefer that you get this whole experience. The food is amazing, but it all adds. And that's what you get at the boutique place.
Right. Exactly, Daniel. That adds a lot. I know that when I go, I have a special, breakfast restaurant that I like to go to, and they know me by name, and they know what I'm going to do, and they know what I'm going to order, and it's a great experience, right? I mean, it's just I can focus on the people I'm there with. Right. I don't have to focus on the menu. I don't have to focus on any of this other stuff. I can focus on the server. What's the server's name, or what's going on in their lives, whatever. Right. The relationship is important. You don't get relationship at a fast food restaurant. You get relationship at a boutique restaurant. Good point, Daniel. Right. And we are relational people. Now, a lot of things in the financial industry can be done by people on the internet. Right. Mm-hmm. They can do it themselves on the internet. But one of the things that I've been seeing, Daniel, recently, been talking to a lot of people, late 40s, early 50s, that are recognized they've been doing their own investments for all these years. And now they're recognizing, as they're approaching and getting closer to retirement, that, hey, maybe I need some help with this. I'm starting to build up a bunch of assets. And, I don't really know, I'm interested in retirement. The kids are maybe like in college or going to be out of college, and now we're going to start focusing on retirement. And I would need a specialist. I need somebody, a boutique financial firm that's going to be able to help me with this, with what we're doing, that somebody that knows us and somebody that will listen to us, somebody that will let me make the decisions on what to invest in, but educate me to be able to make good decisions, right? That's what I'm coming across. Right. And, there are people out there like that. And then you got the older, the older baby boomers who don't know computers and maybe don't want to do it that way. They're not looking for that. They're just wanting somebody to take it over for them. Like the client of ours that come in, they just recently moved into, one of those retirement apartments, and they know we got their back. And so, we spend an hour together, but 50 minutes of it is just talking about the retirement apartment and other things like that. And 10 minutes is about the financial, because, they've been with us for a lot of years. They understand what we're going to do for them. And it's the boutique experience that they're looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's a big deal. That's a big deal once you've built up that relationship and the people understand you, what your needs are, and they understand the world of finance, the language of finance, so that they're able to get you in the best situation for your needs. It's crazy to think that everyone at all ages and income levels, stages of life, can use the same thing. We just, tweak the percentages. So if you're 40, we put more into more equity funds. And if you're 80, we put you more into bond funds. That's so silly. When we look at how complex things are, and you were talking about specialization, and you were talking about doctors, and you were talking about attorneys, but just think about a car, right? You have to be, they don't call them mechanics anymore. They call them technicians. And I mean, like, my brother worked for Tesla for a while, and he had days where he worked remote. How can you work remote? He wasn't he was a tech. How could you do that? Because they're computers, and he would log into the cars and he would work on the cars remote. And it's crazy. It is crazy how specialized each thing is. And you can try to do stuff these days. You can try to work on your car. You can try to write up a legally binding agreement. You can try to fix your dishwasher or whatever it is, right? And you might have some success, but you're probably doing it because maybe you enjoy doing it, not because you think that's the best way of doing it. Or, right? And so you have to decide, or you can do the education so you know how to work on the car,
Yeah.
or are you going to hire somebody to work on the car? Are you going to learn how to, fix your own teeth, or are you going to hire somebody to fix your own teeth, right?
Right. Good point. We live in a specialized world, and it's harder than ever to do things yourselves. Maybe our parents, grandparents used to do everything themselves. They grew up on a farm. They could fix the car. They could plant the seeds. They could take care of the animals. They could do everything and live self-sufficiently. And today, that's not how our world works, right? We need specialists in the different areas to do the different things that we need done. So you're listening to Financial Strategies with Daniel Agemy. Today's topic is fast food or boutique restaurant. And with that, we've got a paper to go along with today's show called RRR, Retirement Risk Report, or Retirement Readiness Report, depending where you are. And this is a paper that will help you understand the importance of how you can understand the risk that your investments are in, if you're ready for retirement, and what you need to do to be able to prepare in that way. Now, whether you're, 10 years away from retirement, 5 years away from retirement, whatever it may be, or in retirement, this is a paper that can help you understand how to be able to make good, wise decisions. Yours for free by calling us at 800-725-7616, 800-725-7616 for your free copy, so that you can understand how to be a better steward of what you have, be able to last the rest of your life. So call now, 800-725-7616. Ask for it by name, RRR. Okay? Kind of like the pirate, right? RRR, matey. All right. So you listen to Financial Strategies with Daniel Agemy. Daniel, the big thing that people need to know, I think, is how do you recognize a fast food financial service company, right? And there's lots of them out there. Some of them people are very familiar. This is interesting, right? Because there's all kinds of fast food restaurants, right? There's a zillion kinds of burger fast food restaurants, and then there's all kinds of other varieties. Chicken,
and they're different
tacos.
Qualities, they're different places, right. They're different styles.
And and then you got the food trucks. You go down to New Haven on Long Wharf, and there's this line of food trucks, right? And a lot of Mexican ones and Puerto Rican ones, and whatnot. But they've got a lot of trucks have the same type of food, but they're going to be different, right? But they're all some form of fast food. But the point is that you got all these different flavors. So the same thing in the financial industry, right? Because there are banks are many times the fast food of the financial industry. And then there are huge companies that are in your 401k programs, right? Companies that people have a lot of money with that are fast food companies. Fast food for the financial industry, fast financial industry, you will say, right? And then there are, those companies that bring Wall Street to Main Street, right? That every Main Street has those companies that are there that are just taking care of the masses. That's what they're designed to do. One of the big ways that people can recognize, fast food companies, even, it's really interesting because it really gets people fooled. But those, people get a lot of invitations in the mail to restaurants for having dinner by fast food industries a lot of times, right? Because all they're trying to do is they're trying to build up their clientele. Right? That's what a lot of these dinner seminars are doing out there. I'm not saying all of them, but I'm saying you have to be careful because a lot of them are. I can't tell you how many times we have clients that we pulled in from those companies that they were fast talked into stuff, and it's some of the most egregious stuff and high fees that I've ever seen in my life from some of our newest clients we have with that. And people in our listening audience, please be careful and watch what's going on, whether it's your 401k companies, the financial firms from your 401k companies, and you say, hey, I can just do other stuff with them. Well, yeah, sure you can, but what are they going to give you? We've got this thing, Daniel and I were just talking about, there's this philosophy, there's this thing, right? Time versus money, right? You're going to pay in your time or you're going to pay in money, right? One or the other, you can choose. But the egregious thing is to pay in both time and money. That's terrible. And if you are using people, to be able to help you, and they're not giving you the value that you need, and you're actually losing money, well, you've got some serious problem. That's the first sign that you're working with a fast food financial firm, right? And, just like when I was in Spain, I was going out to those boutique restaurants and not liking the food in those boutique restaurants, but I ended up going to the fast food because at least I could know what I get. Well, there are good ones out there, but the question is finding the ones that are going to be able to do what you needed to do. Right, Daniel?
Yeah, exactly. And so those are the way you can think about this. The way you can think about this is you think, is this something that this company, is this something that this advisor, is this something that they love and they're passionate about and they would do this for free? Or is this something that they're just trying to figure out what they want to do next in their life? Or are they just trying to generate some revenues? For example, insurance companies are very good at managing money, right?
Right.
They have people that all they do is figure out how to manage the insurance company's money.
Right.
But then when the insurance company says, well, actually, let's invest your money. We'll buy you mutual funds or we'll do something, that it completely changes, because now it goes from someone managing individual securities, individual investments for the insurance company to some random advisor saying, we're going to take your money. I'm not talking about buying their insurance. I'm talking about they're a money manager too, the insurance company.
Quote unquote money manager, right.
And they probably don't even have a full financial license, right? They probably have a Series 6 and they'll put you in some funds. But it's because it was easy, because they already have you as their insurance customer. Mm-hmm. Why not make you a financial customer too? Right. Or a bank does the same thing. They have a business of loaning money. And then they say, we could start selling annuities or we could start selling mutual funds. Were they thinking, what is in the best interest of our clients? They probably were when they were thinking about the loans, or the insurance company probably was when they were thinking about their original product. But then they tack on these other things that aren't about doing what's in your best interest. It's about just, this is an easy way to generate some more fees.
Exactly. Good point, Daniel. Excellent point. We got more to say on that, so I hope you come back after the break, because we're talking today about fast food or boutique restaurant. When it comes to financial industry, which would you prefer, financially speaking? Well, you're listening to Financial Strategies with Andrew and Daniel Agemy, and we have a book today that we'd love to give you, and it's called The Richest Man in Babylon. We like this book. We've given it out many times in the past, but it's a good old, easy to read book that allows you to go back and hear wisdom from a man that lived during the Babylonian times, to be able to, what he tells his friends and how they can gain wealth and build their wealth. So we'd love to put this in your hand. And, it's kind of interesting because it just goes back. What he's saying is just biblical principles, but, we're not going to say that because there's people listening to that show that don't like the Bible and don't like God, right? But nevertheless, that's what it goes back to. And on the other hand, there's people that do like God and do like biblical principles. So that's why we're throwing it in. Anyway, point is that this is for free. You can have it for free by calling us at 800-725-7616. No obligation. 800-725-7616 for the first 5 first-time callers. 800-725-7616. Call now.
Do you have any questions for me about retirement income source?
I just want to make sure I can invest well enough to have enough income, enjoy my retirement.
We build a custom retirement plan based around your income and goals.
How do I know I can trust you?
Building trust does take time, but our investment advisory arm is comprised of fiduciaries, which means our obligation is to you, so you can enjoy your retirement. It's a little more income stability.
I'm in.
That's 2 out of 3.
This is Financial Strategies with Andrew and Daniel Agemy.
So when banks teach their people how to know counterfeit money from the real thing. How do they do that? Do they just like store up all the counterfeit money that's ever come in and they have the people look at it and study it? No. They get them so acclimated to the real thing, the right thing, that when the tellers and whatnot touch the fake money, they know what it is. Maybe not as much today as it used to be in yesteryear, but nevertheless, still the same. If you know the real thing, you'll know when you have falsehood, when you have fake. I'm Andrew Agemy.
And I'm Daniel Agemy, and you're listening to Financial Strategies. Today we're talking about fast food or boutique restaurant. And AAA, that I didn't know you were going to tell that story. That's a good one. That is an interesting one. I actually told that story the other day too, because I have a perfect example of that, where this girl was selling one of the exotic brands of handbags, right? And these things go for like $5+ grand, right?
Oh, wow. Okay.
And she was selling them at discounted prices, the real bags at discounted prices. And so one of these girls who had bought one of these bags is going around showing off like this big name. She's not trying to, but like people notice this stuff, right? Wealthy people notice this stuff. And one of her friends who came from money and who had all these bags growing up, her dad bought them, they were well-to-do, noticed right away that was a fake bag. And the reason she noticed is because she's had so many of the real ones. She knew exactly when she saw those flaws in the bag right away, where all these other people who hadn't seen enough of the real ones to know thought it was real. And that proves your point perfectly. Yeah. So how are you going to bring that into what we're talking about today?
So how do you know when you have a fast food, quote unquote, financial company versus a boutique financial company? Well, you need to know the right thing. And a lot of people listening to this don't understand, what a boutique financial firm is. They don't understand what it looks like. They haven't seen them. Why? Because the world is proliferated with financial firms, right? I mean, in my town of Madison, Connecticut, there's got to be on Main Street 15 banks. Well, maybe not 15, right? But certainly a dozen, right? Banks on this little town. Why in the world are there and they're beautiful buildings? Where do they get the money? Well, like you said earlier, Daniel, $550,000 sitting in the bank, and the bank is making a ton of money off that, but they're only paying out minuscule amounts of money, right? And a guy came in the other day, Daniel, one of our clients, sold a house. I said, how much is in your bank account? He says $136,000. I said, and how much do you think should be there? Or maybe about 30. I said, okay, so you're giving up, $500, $5,000, $6,000 a year on that money, that you're not making any money on. The bank's making that money. Why aren't you making that money? Well, that's because he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know to go to, he's going to a fast food financial firm, not a boutique finance. That's why he was talking to me, because we're a boutique firm that it knows what to do with this stuff, right? And so if you know the real thing, you'll be able to understand it. So let's give people some ideas of what the real thing looks like, okay? And maybe we're going backwards, right? I don't know, Daniel. Help me out here, right? Because we could talk about what the real one looks like, or we could talk about what a fake ones look like. So there's two different angles we can go there. I'm kind of thinking, well, let's just start, Daniel, with what a true fiduciary is, right? Because that's one of the things at a good boutique place, they're going to be a true fiduciary, right? And
absolutely.
If you know what a true fiduciary is, I'm adding that word true because the word fiduciary gets kicked around all the time, right?
So we talked about one already, which is if this is their passion, they've been doing this for 30 years, they've been doing this for a long time, right? Because when we look at the fast food, I'm not trying to say anything about your profession. I'm not trying to beat up anybody in these kinds of things. But when we look at a fast food restaurant, people Nobody says when I grow up, I want to be a fast food worker. They're using it to get them to the next spot, right? They're not trying. Now there are certain fast food, or maybe Chick-fil-A and things like this, where people that's their goal. They want to, but that's because they have equity in the place. That's not because they're just an employee.
Right.
That's their goal, is to be there, right? So you can look at the quality of the person. A lot of the fast food, they are people who are preparing themselves to go on to another profession, and it's just a holding spot so they can pay for school or they can pay for the bills or whatever that is, right?
Right.
So you can look. So one thing to look at is this person a holding spot? What licenses do they have?
Mm-hmm.
How long have they had their clients? How long have they been in business? And not the firm. Okay. Not necessarily the firm. So if it's something like one of these huge names, I'm not going to say any names, but one of these huge names, right? That's on all the street corners. There's two of them on right where I am. There's two of them right here, right next to me. So they're around, right? Not how long that firm's been in business, but how long has the person that you're working with been in business?
Right.
Right. Or if it's a boutique, then it's important how long the firm's been in business.
Mm-hmm. Right.
How long have they been in business? Are they a fiduciary? Do they put that in writing?
Right.
Do they have stockholders? Right. You don't want the firm necessarily to have stockholders, because when they have the stockholders, now their duties, their fiduciary duties, are to the stockholders, not necessarily as you as the account holder. Right.
Exactly. Right. Good. Yeah, that's a true fiduciary. They're putting your interest first, your true interest, as opposed to just what's suitable for you. They're putting your interest first, and that's the most important thing to them. I like that, Daniel, that somebody that would do it for free, right? And, I get that, right? I mean, I could retire tomorrow, but I don't, because, I'm trying to help people to be able to do what they need to do and retire and stay retired. So you listen to Financial Strategies with Daniel Agemy. Today's topic is fast food or boutique. And with that, we're talking about the difference between financial firms that are out there. Well, we have a paper that would go along with today's show that will help you significantly understand this. It's called 10 Signs You're Working with a True Retirement Income Specialist. So this is how you're going to know. If you take this paper, you're going to know what a true income specialist is like, true specialist for retirement. You're going to know the real thing. And so that will be helpful to you. You can have that for free by calling 800-725-7616 for your free copy. 800-725-7616 for your free copy of knowing the true retirement specialist. Call them now. Listen to Financial Strategies. Daniel, I think that paper we're giving away will be great to help people understand what a true, boutique shop is looking like when it comes to the financial industry. So, I'm thinking about then going at it from, looking at the negative side, right?
I think there's more. I think that there is more things that you want to see. And we know this. Okay. How do we know this? We know this because we get lots of people, right?
Yep.
That come into our office and they say, I've been with X, and they'll list 3-4 different financial firms that they've had, and they're not happy. They know, in the past, and they know that it's not working out, right? We've been seeing this more and more, where people, they say they just have this bad taste in their mouth, and they're a referral or there's something like that, and they've come to us, and now they're talking to us because they know that there's better, and they know it especially because their friend has had it better,
right?
And they're looking for someone who is not that fast food firm.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the things would be fees, right?
Right.
Where are the hidden fees? So if they're selling variable annuities, that there's hidden fees. So if you're working with someone who sold you a variable annuity, I'm not saying that they're a bad person. I'm definitely not saying they're a bad person. No. I'm not even saying they're a bad advisor, but I'm saying you need to seriously consider, do you know what that product is? Is there too many fees? And why did they sell you that? There could be a very good reason they sold that to you. But there's a lot of people we see that have variable annuities, for example, that they're paying too much in fees and they don't need it. There's better equivalents of that will do better for them and have lesser fees, right? So that's one example of a positive, which is, are they watching your fees? Now, fees aren't the most important thing because the fee doesn't matter. If you don't make any money, who cares if they're not charging you anything, right? So so the fee's not the only important thing, but it is an important thing. And excessive fees are ridiculous, right? Because it's hard enough to beat inflation on adjusted returns, let alone if you have a 3% fee plus you're trying to beat inflation on adjusted returns, correct?
Yeah, definitely. Right with you there.
So watching those fees, and then how much work are they doing for you? Okay.
Yeah.
Are they having meetings with?
Let's talk about fees just a little bit. We have a little bit of time before we have to go to break, but let's talk about fees because people don't know what we mean by excessive fees, right? And so, a lot of times people within their 401k plans are paying fees that they don't even know that they're paying, that maybe are 0.25%, maybe 0.5%, somewhere in that vicinity, generally speaking, right? Some are paying less, some are paying more. But generally speaking, they're somewhere in that area. Just to get, and what are you getting? You're not getting any customization. You're not getting anybody that really is helping you from that standpoint. It's purely self-service, and that's what you're getting. And then you have the flip side of that, right? Where you have. Well,
I would just change that. You said 0.25%. It depends on the plan. I've seen fees as much as 2.25% in a 401k. So you have to be careful. There's a big range inside those plans based on what your plan is offering you. And I'm sure you've probably seen higher, but it's not uncommon to see close to 2% in a 401k, which blows my mind. But so you have to be careful which things you're picking inside that plan.
Okay, right. Okay, but that fair enough. That's good, Daniel. But more egregious than that is when you go to this financial place, this local financial place. And, because I've seen it, people come in for second opinions and I see what their fees are. And I see that they've got this money and they're paying their guy 1%, 1.25% every year to manage, quote unquote, their portfolio. But inside their portfolio, they have mutual funds, and the mutual funds are charging 0.5%, give or take, maybe 0.5%, maybe 0.75%,
or ETFs, mutual funds or ETFs.
And mutual funds or ETFs, because they're the disease of ease. You know how hard it is. In our listening audience, how hard it is to choose a mutual fund. People say, "Oh, they're managing our money." No, they're not managing money. They're choosing mutual funds. You know how hard it is? Check in a box. That's how hard it is to choose a mutual fund. So they're paying the mutual fund company to actually manage your money, maybe 0.5%, give or take, and then they're paying their quote unquote financial guy 1.25%. He's not managing any money, or she's not managing any money. They're managing the relationship. Well, you know what? You can get a relationship for a whole lot less than that. So maybe you're paying 1.5% to 2% all in for that and it's not really customized to you, right? And that's not to say if they have any variable annuities in there, and like Daniel says, well, then that's driving the price up over 2% that you're paying all in. And there are plenty of fees. And they're not necessarily hidden. You don't see them. You get prospectuses, and the prospectus, they're laid out because they have to be laid out. The government tells us that they have to be laid out. But people may not tell you what they are, and they just give you the document for you to find out what those are for yourself. And how many people have actually read those documents? Well, here's a book we like you to read that's a lot easier to read than one of those prospectuses. And it's a lot shorter too. And
it's got some good stories too.
Yeah, exactly. Don't take your money to the blacksmith to buy diamonds. He doesn't know how to do that. So
they'll get you one of those fake handbags.
One of those Richest Man of Babylon, a book that we'd love to give you. Call them now, 800-725-7616 for your free copy. The next 5 first-time callers, 800-725-7616. Call now.
Time for some tough questions for these financial advisors. What makes Retirement Income Source different from other financial?
Our extensive experience generating investment income quickly so you can have financial peace of mind, navigate your retirement smoothly, and have more time to spend with family and doing the things you love.
We gotta talk to these guys. We're done here.
You're locked on to Financial Strategies with Andrew and Daniel Agemy.
So Daniel, I have been looking for another type of business insurance for our companies, and just like their specialties in all these different fields that we've been talking about. There's specialties in insurance, and I'm looking for a particular kind of insurance. So I call my insurance agent who handles this, right? And I asked him about it. He actually brought it up to me, and then we're going through this whole process, and he's getting me quotes. And then before he got me a quote, I had to fill out myself like a 25-page application just to get a quote. And I was like, why aren't you helping me with this, is what I was thinking. Right? I mean, I don't do that for my clients. I mean, I fill out the applications. All they have to do is sign. Why am I filling? I don't even know half this stuff on here. He's more familiar with this than me because he sells the insurance, right? And so then I do that, and then I find I'm waiting. I'm not getting any quotes. Hey, where is it? Oh, I forgot about it, right? And so then he gets me the quote, and then it's like 3 months later. I'm saying, okay, this is what I want, between going back and forth and everything, this is what I want. And then he know what he does? He gives me another 25-page form to fill out. And I'm like, wait a minute. I filled out this form in the past. Can we do something? Can't you fill this out and have me sign? Oh, they finally made an amends and say, okay, well, we'll use that when you filled out in the past to be able to do it. But it's like, why am I doing all the work? I'm Andrew Agemy.
And I'm Daniel Agemy, and you're listening to Financial Strategies. And today we're talking about the fast food of the financial world, or a boutique restaurant, your favorite boutique restaurant. And AAA, I think I know where you're going with that. If you're paying a fee, right? If you're paying a fee, you need to be getting something in return for the fee. How much work are these guys doing for you, these gals doing for you? It might be something simple like sending you blank forms, or if they're filling them out and talking to them, right? Do you hear from them? And another one that I think is very valuable, that when we see people's assets come over, when people decide to move from their current people over to our firm, and we see what type of assets come over, you could tell right away how much work they're doing by the type of assets that come over, by the type of assets you have in your account, right? Because you hear people say it all the time, even, which is, well, I can't do the analysis on that, so I buy a fund. Right? And they're right. And they probably shouldn't be picking individual things. But if you're paying a fee, do you want somebody who can do the analysis?
Yeah.
Do you want somebody who can?
I want some value for my money. Like we said earlier, paying time, or you paying in dollars, right? And to paying both is egregious. And if you're paying a fee and you're not getting much value for that fee, what are you getting for that? Well, you have to take a look at that. And that's how you will know if you're having a true, boutique financial firm. So I'm sorry to interrupt you, Dan, but
that's exactly right. Yeah, those. So what are they buying? Is it working out for you? And then the thing you and I talk about a lot that people don't understand with the disease of ease, buying these mutual funds or these ETFs, some things are not designed to be in that kind of wrapper. And the problem that you get when you're looking at bond funds and bond ETFs especially is the reason you buy a bond is because it has two guarantees you're interested in. Yeah. One is you know exactly how much money they're going to pay you. It's mathematically certain. We know exactly what that number is, right? The other reason is when they're going to give you your money back. So a bond, you're loaning a country, you're loaning a corporation, you're loaning an entity your money. They're going to pay you a fixed amount of money, unless it's just the normal bond. They're going to pay you a fixed amount of money. Yep. And at the end of a certain period of time, you get your money back. When you put that in a wrapper, an ETF wrapper, now there's a fund manager in there who has to do what flows tell him to do. More money comes in, he's got to buy more. Money goes out, he's got to sell your bonds. Your bonds. Wait, you were buying those because you wanted those 2 guarantees. You just lost the 2 guarantees because now it's in a fund. If you own that in your individual account, in your retirement account, hey, now you got your guarantees back. Doesn't that sound a lot better than because 2 million people own this fund and other people decide they want to buy or sell, it affects your money? Like, how does that make sense, right?
Right. I agree.
So this other good thing is, what are they doing to earn the fee you're paying for them? Are they doing individual security analysis? Are they putting in investments that are going to work best for you? Or is it just, well, based on your age, we're going to go a percentage into this type of fund, and based on your age, we're going to put a percentage into this type of fund, right? That sounds ridiculous to me, but I also don't eat fast food. I don't go to these fast food joints. So that's me. Everybody's different, and what floats your boat. But we're trying to bring people education so they can make smart choices. We don't want to tell people what to do. We don't want to tell people what to do, but we do want to help people who want to get better, who want to put their financial futures in a better situation, who want to have a better retirement. We want to give those people some good education so they can make some smart choices.
Exactly. That's exactly. And that's one of the ways how you know if you've got a true boutique firm, is that you've got somebody educating you and being like a CFO to you, to educate you, and you're making the decisions. They're not coming to you and saying, no, you need to do this, you need to do this. This is the greatest product since sliced bread or anything like that, right? And, you mentioned,
I think that's the most important thing, AAA.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's your money and you need to do it. But, the other thing is, I just want to mention that, you mentioned 2 guarantees of the bonds. They actually have 3. Right? They have the guarantee that you're going to get, that you're going to get your money back. They have the guarantee of how much you're going to get paid, and they have a guaranteed time frame. You know what the time frame is. So you're not guessing. There's no guesses involved. There's those, and so that's all. But you give all those up when you go into the bond fund, like you said, Daniel. Good point. Thank you. And if you're just joining us, you're listening to Financial Strategies with Daniel Agemy, because a educated retiree is a happy and smart retiree. So we'd like to educate you further. Besides this show, we'd like to give you a paper that goes along with the show. Excuse me. And it's that the paper is, signs that you're working with a true retirement specialist. Okay. And you can have that for free by calling us at 800-725-7616. No obligation. 800-725-7616 for your free copy of 10 signs you're working with a true retirement income specialist. Daniel, we just have a few minutes left in the show here, and we got so much more that we could say, right? But hopefully, we're trying to give people the idea of understanding what a true boutique financial firm is compared to the quote unquote fast food financial firm. And how are we going to wrap this up?
Well, I think maybe just touching upon making sure people, especially if people are just tuning in now, get the difference between the fast food, the boutique restaurants, right? We see these in our regular life. We see fast food places. They're everywhere. They're convenient. You kind of know what you're going to get. Mm-hmm. Nobody's thinking they're getting the best food, right? Mm-hmm. Nobody's mm-hmm. thinking they're getting the best food. We understand that the people working there are probably just working there to get them to the next phase of life, or because that's what's available, or because it was convenient to them, not because they're passionate about making fast food.
Right.
On the flip side, you've got the boutique restaurant, your favorite boutique restaurant, that maybe they know your name if you go there enough. They get you a nice seat. If you don't know who they are, you could find a bad one. That's right. A possibility. So you need to find a good one, but the upside is just tremendous. That's where you're going to say, this is the best food I ever ate. I went to this boutique place and I ate the best food I've ever had, right? You're going to get fresh ingredients if you get a good one. The owner probably, that's his passion. That's his baby, this restaurant, or hers, right? They care about the ingredients that they're doing. If they're not cooking themselves, they're hiring cooks. That's what they care about. They love cooking. That's why they're at this boutique restaurant, right? Right. And it flips the same.
I think of the Rocky movie, right, Daniel? Rocky Balboa, right? When he's got that restaurant that he calls Adrian's, right? And he's just like, he's not doing the cooking or nothing, right? But he's going around, he's the relationship. Hey, Joe, how you doing, right? And he's telling him about his boxing career and all that kind of stuff, because he loves being there. He loves the people. He loves that whole relationship. So yeah, you're exactly right with that.
And so you can flip that on to the restaurants, the ones that, or you can flip those on to the financial firms.
Exactly.
Are they passionate about what they're doing? Can you talk to the owner?
Or is it
Are
just a
they,
job?
or is it just a job? Are they paying attention to your individual needs? Is it something that they're passionate about it, or is it something that they said, hey, we could start selling these funds, we could start selling these products so we can add some revenue to the company, right? These are the kinds of things. And hopefully this gives some people the value. Or if you're unhappy with where you're at, maybe it makes sense now why it's going that way. Why it hasn't been working out for you. And I think those are the analogies. What do you have to wrap it up, AAA?
Well, the idea of you're on the track with this whole thing, but the other aspect is they're holistic, right? They're not just doing investment. They're making sure that you have the right income for retirement. They're making sure the taxes are that you're not paying more in taxes than what you legally have to, right? A lot of fast food places don't touch taxes because their compliance department says, no, we don't do that because we can't handle it. Or how about the other holistic aspect is making sure the retirement plans are in place. I can't tell you how many people over my years that I've come across that they don't, I'm sorry, I said retirement plans, but I meant estate plans, don't have a will in place. And then I said, in the past, we used to say, okay, well, go get a will, or we may even, give them an attorney to do. But then, we see them a year later and they still don't have it. Well, what we've done to mitigate that is we brought that in-house, and we have attorneys that we are associated with we're able to just do it. Basically, a month after I ask that question, if they don't have one and they want one, they've got their plan. So it's a beautiful thing that we're able to do. That's the kind of thing that a holistic approach is what a true boutique firm is going to bring in. I hope that you find one and, to help you with that. Well,
yeah, ask your question. Ask that question. So the people who are listening, right? Ask that question. Do a fair analysis. Does that sound like the person you're working with? There's a lot of good ones. There's a lot of bad ones, but there's a lot of good people. So you may have one of these. And if you do, great. But don't just say, I have one of those. Stop, think about what we're talking about, because you owe it to yourself. You worked hard for that money. You worked hard to get that money. And if you didn't work hard for it, you got an inheritance. Somebody worked hard to get that money.
That's right.
And so think about, you owe it to yourself to think, if you have this type of fast food, and if you want the fast food, or if you have the boutique, and do you want the boutique? And then move on from there.
Right. Exactly. There you go. That's beautiful, Daniel. And, people don't realize that, when you're looking for a new financial advisor or whatever the case may be, you're interviewing them, but they're also interviewing you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it comes down to. At our firm, I tell people that there's three things, that before you can become one of our clients. Number one, you have to have a problem. Number two, we have to be the best ones to solve that problem in your mind as well as our mind. And sometimes it's not in the people coming in's mind, and sometimes it's not in our mind, right? But the third thing is we have to like each other. And so, that's a great thing. So we interview the people before we bring them on as clients, because we are a boutique firm that is trying to serve our clients. And if we just serve everybody like the fast food companies, well, we can't take care of our clients in that way. And that's what's most important, is the service in them. Well, you've been listening to Financial Strategies with Daniel Agemy, and today's topic is fast food or boutique. And we have a book that we'd love to give you as finishing up. It's called The Richest Man in Babylon. It's going to give you a lot of principles that you can make good decisions with and understand how to implement in your life to be able to move forward and be able to take care of your financial future so that you can retire and stay retired. So we love to give this to you. Call us 800-725-7616, 800-725-7616 for the first 5 first-time callers. 800-725-7616. We wish you, well, we don't wish you, we look forward to your being educated so that you can retire and stay retired.